be going over the how-tos of the weapon mastery system. So it is completely different in T2 compared to how it was previously. I personally really like the changes. So there's two ways to get to it. One, as you just saw, you can just open up your menu, come down to the weapon mastery and click on it there, or you can come up into skills and go into it like you used to over here. Click on that and it'll bring that open, okay? So I am on console, I play on Xbox, so the menus and the way you navigate them are a little bit different than they are on PC. But you can always hold down your left analog stick and open this virtual cursor mode, hit A, and then you can move around. You're not stuck in the specific sections. So you can come over, you can click on the level up, you can choose which thing you want, and move around a little bit more freely. If you're not used to doing that, that's fine. The regular way, if you're stuck over here, you can't move outside of this box. So the only way to do that is to left click, not move it, but left click the analog stick, and that'll bring you over here on the far right side to the selection for the different masteries, okay? So then you could hit A on the one you want, and now you're in this box, and you can swap and you can go to level up. So that's what I'm going to go over first, is the level up. So I have 500k experience I can use to level up these individual weapon masteries. So right here, my wand is the closest to a level up, so I'm going to add it there. Now, I still didn't... Now, you can minus or plus, so if you don't decide it's not enough XP, you want to put it somewhere else, you can hit the minus, go back out, say, let's come up here into the sword. Plus, almost gave me a full level, all right? So that's my sword and shield for my alternate tank build. But I'm pretty close to getting the wand up, so I think I'm going to use it on the wand. So I'm trying to get it as close to the staff as I can, so you just accept it. And as you can see, I don't have any more bonus XP that I can use, all right? But I'm going to open up the cursor a second so you can see. So this available mastery, that's the amount of points you have available to use. This is how much you have used, and this is how much is left. So this is how much you have total. So this is the total for the session. So if I hadn't have used the XP in here, the total XP I had right here would show up. Then, since I hadn't used any of it, that's what was down here. But if you use some of it, say I had enough to level up the sword, and then I had a little bit left over. Well, I could choose to put the extra into the sword or in any one of the other mastery areas. So then it'll show, like I said, your total. It'll show how much you've used, and right here it'll show how much you've actually got left to use, okay? So then you just hit accept whenever you have it balanced the way you want it. All right? So now we're going to back out and go over the actual perk points over here. So this bit can get a little bit confusing if you're new to it. I come from a few games that had kind of similar systems. Not quite the same, but similar-ish. So first, you notice there's 3 different rings. All right? So there's this middle ring here. And then there's this the inner ring right here. And then there's this middle ring right here. And then there's the outer ring out here. Okay? So you have to start with the inner ring. So you have to first unlock. So you see the ones I don't have unlocked have this little keyhole. That means I haven't unlocked them. So for this one, I could click on it. You see there's the fee to unlock. The first round is all just Solent, or in-game gold, basically, to unlock it. Alright, so then you can go up to 10 points in something that in each of these little perks or abilities, passives, whatever you want to call them. You can put up to 10 points into each one of them, and that'll fully max it out. As you can see on these, it says max level. Alright, so as you put points in to this first ring, it'll unlock the second ring. So as you can see right here, I'll click on one that, open my cursor real quick so we can do it the PC way. That's not working either. Oh well, whatever. So I'll just hover over it. And so if you see in that little window that popped up, it says deactivated because I haven't unlocked it yet. Now, the first ring only takes Solent, but the outer 2 rings take crystals. So when I want to unlock it, I can choose whether I want to use this one or maybe not. Maybe I want to use all of these. Or maybe I just want to use a balance of the two. So you can kind of choose out of the gems that you have which ones you want to use. Same down here. So I have 11 of those and 0 that I'm using out of here. So maybe I want to use 3 of the 5 of my precious emerald, or maybe I want to use 3 of the 11 emerald ore. And you can kind of mix and match too, so I could do 1 of each, or I need 3s here, so I couldn't do 1 of each, but I could go 2 and 1. And then it's also going to cost you Solent as well, and each ring increases the amount of mats and Solent you need to upgrade. So this one right here that I had just clicked on, that was a 2, so it takes 3 to double ring. I mean the middle ring, the second ring, that's going to take 3. As you can see. And then you come to the outer ring, it's actually going to take more. So I need 10 now. So as you can see right here, I have 6 of 10, but I don't have enough. Here is 10 of 10. So again, middle ring, it only takes 3. So as you can see here, 3 of 3, 3 of 3. In the outer ring, it's 10. So it does increase. And if you look at the Solent, it's 160k there. And the outer ring is 550k, so a half mil. So it does get exponentially more expensive as you level up your mastery, all right? But once you've unlocked it, it's unlocked for all of your builds. So I have a damage dealer, a healer, and a tank build for my mastery. And you can get that right down here on the bottom of the screen, kind of in the middle. Now, if you're on console or using a controller, you just click down on your right analog stick and that opens it up. Or if you're on PC, I'll open up my virtual cursor. You just come down here and click on it, okay? But, oops, didn't mean to do that. Come on, click. There we go. All right, so I don't like using the virtual cursor in here. It's just what I'm used to. But, so anyway, you have to have, I think, 3 of the first ring things. 3, maybe 4 of them completely unlocked and maxed before you can put anything out into these. So, like, let's come over here to this one that I haven't used yet. So, as you can see, the condition is the common rank mastery points. I have to have 30 points into this inner ring to unlock the ability to use the outer ring. But I actually have more than that. So I got the 10, the 20, and the 30, but then I have an extra 12. Those 2 points there, and this 10 over here. So when I come over here and you see that it says I have 42 out of 30, I have met the condition to unlock any abilities in this middle ring. And it's the same out here. See, the condition is I have to have 30 points in this inner ring to unlock the outer ring. But as you can see, I have already done that. So that is easy peasy. So the more points you get, the more of the rings you'll unlock. But you also want to be careful about which abilities or passives that you are unlocking, because they all do different things. So as you can see, this whole area is broken into 4 sections. You got this section, this section, this section, and this section. You can see the little icons here in the middle. So this one, that's tactics. Here's your defense area. Here's your support area. Here's your damage area. So support, that's your healing, your team buffs, that kind of stuff. Defense, that's obvious. It's defense. Then tactics, that's going to change your abilities, your passives, things like that. It'll actually change some of the skills that you can use. So like right here, this increases the burning duration and converts ice spear bombardment into a detonator bombardment, which is a lightning skill, I believe. But there's a bunch of these are passives, so these you don't put points into. So the things like this right here, that's in between the 2 different rings, you can't put points into that. You unlock that, as you see right here, I have this maxed, and I have this maxed. Well, that's what unlocks here. So if you see down, let's go to one that's not unlocked. So if you come right here, common rank achievement effect, well, I have the effect unlocked, but I don't have anything feeding into it. So I have to actually have 2 different effects to unlock the common achievement. I only have 1, and that's this one right here. So if I were to take a point out of this, put it in there, and max this one out, so you see its attack is 20 out of 20, but that's over here. So if I get 20 points, 10 and 10 here, or like I had before where I had them in here, if I max this one out and I have this at 10 and this at 10, it will unlock this passive, okay? But because I also have 20 points in that inner ring and attack, if I come over here into the support and I unlock 20 here and 20 here, it'll actually also unlock down on the bottom there. It'll unlock the support. You see I have 12 out of 20. And that'll change some of the effects that these things do, and it helps unlock them. As you can see right over here, I've got kind of a... Actually, if I go over to my wand, there we go. You can see it a little bit more easily. So you see this one is feeding into this one. This one's also feeding into this one, and this are both feeding into this. So if you see over here, because I have points over here in support, that's feeding into this. So you see I have the attack and the support both unlocked. Okay? Now, what happens if I take points out? Well, I've already got mastery, so if I want to edit anything in this line, like take a point out, now I can take this point out, because this has to have a certain number to unlock. We'll come over here. So the unlock conditions is you have to have a certain number of mastery points. Yeah, that's going to make it more difficult. I'll just take all the ones out of this so you can see it. So the first one, you have to have 80 mastery points spent to even unlock one of these ultimate mastery abilities. There's 4, 1 for each section if you saw earlier. These cost a lot to unlock. So I'll open it up. Takes 90 stones to unlock one of both reds and greens. And based on, so over here it's going to be different. It's going to be greens and yellows. Then down here it's going to be blues. And I don't remember what here, we'll see here. It's blues and yellows down here. And then over here it's going to be reds and blues. So depending on the section of the mastery that you're in determines the mats it takes to unlock. But as you can see here, the condition is I have to have 80 mastery points spent to even put any points into this. I also have to have a tactics achievement effect, because this is a tactics branch, and these are the achievements. This right here, this right here, this right here. So you can see I have one achievement right there already for the tactics mastery. So because of that, I can unlock this. So you cannot even use these epic mastery abilities unless you have points into the lower level ones. Now it could be this one, this one. So like if you come up here, for example, I don't have the first one unlocked, but I have the second. So if I come up here, you see that I do have the achievement effect unlocked so that I could use it. So I'm going to come back here and put the max points in. So once you get to a certain level, I believe it's maybe 260, I think 220? Yeah, right there. Okay, so mastery points, I'm at 91. Once I get 120 points, I can have a second mastery, which is awesome. But that's only once you get up to the epic rank. Okay, so as you can see, these are epics. And the condition is once I unlock the mastery, I have to have one of the defense nodes unlocked. And I have to have 120 points to unlock the second one. Now, these are very handy depending on your build. Now, just keep in mind, if you're a pure damage, there are things in the other branches that will help with your damage. For example, right here, since I'm a pure mag damage right here, this gives me max magicka and damage because it's between the support and the attack. So it's kind of a balance of the two. That's why it's feeding into this perk and into this perk. It's because it's actually a cross between the two, getting max mana and max damage. So the max mana is one of the supports, and the max damage is obviously a damage passive. So if we come down here, well, let's see, here's one. So this gives me max health and evasions, so that gives me defense and a little bit of the tactics. Okay, but it'll be easier. It'll be easier, I think, going into the staffs. It's a little bit more damage focused. So right here, mana regen, we got cooldown speed, we got mana regen, melee evasion, and then here we got a bunch of endurances and cooldown speed. Right here we have increases melee evasion but lowers magical hit chance. Well, I'm a magic damage, so I don't want to lower my magic hit chance. That would be bad. So putting points into that would be silly, right? Don't want to do that. But there's things like cooldown speed is actually going to increase your damage. Mana cost efficiency is going to increase your damage. Not as much as the cooldown will, but it will still help. So I'm a staff wand user, as you could probably tell from my mastery levels. So since I'm a pure mag, the more often I can get my abilities refreshed and off their cooldown, the more often I can cast those abilities. But that's a really high drain on your magic pool. So that's where this comes into effect. Mana cost efficiency means that you will not be running out of magic as quickly. Now there's also things that'll increase your mana regen as well, like right there, mana regen. And magical hit also. So this is going to probably be something that I can unlock that now. This is probably going to be something that I'm going to put points into eventually. Alright, because there's perks like this right here. I want that. So I've already got this one maxed, so I need to get this one maxed too. But how do I do that? Well, I need to unlock one of these perks. And the only way to do that is to unlock the ones around it on the rings. So this will be unlocked by the middle ring here. So if I get this right here, put points into that, and put points into this. So once I get points in here, it's going to unlock this bad boy. So let's see if I can take points out of here. I can. So if I took out my cooldown speed and started putting them into here, a little slow process. It's a little bit of a balancing act. Alright. Boom. Now you see I just unlocked that. So this is now feeding into here. This is feeding into here. This is feeding into here. And now both of these are feeding into here. So now I have this perk unlocked. And what does that do? Echoic barrier, silence duration reduction, effects changes to an effect. The duration reduction effect changes to an effect that grants silence immunity when the user is silenced, and it has a 45-second cooldown. Well, I don't actually need that, but I need a perk to unlock this perk, which I do need. And as you can see now, I have the support achievement unlocked. I just need another, 28 points to in mastery, another 28 mastery levels to unlock this. That'll take a bit. But why am I using this one instead of this one? Well, this one, I was thinking about it, but what's better? Crit hit and mana regen, or mana cost efficiency and buff duration? So the buff duration, you notice it's a minus. So your buffs don't last as long. Buff duration is a minus 0.2%, meaning it lasts 0.2% less. Well, that's not great. So I don't want to put points into that to unlock this one, which would actually be more useful to me. Now, I could put points into that like I had before, but I would need either this one or this one to unlock it. Now, this one, silence resistance, that's okay. This one over here, mana regen, that's also, it's okay. But it's not the greatest. This one here is also feeding into this, which is increasing its ability as well. So if I were to take that point out, it won't let me. Oh, well. But maybe this one will let me. Nope, so it won't let me either. But if you take the points out, it'll actually lower some of the buffs and stuff that you get, I'm pretty sure. That I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that one. But I'm pretty sure if you have less things feeding into it, it lowers slightly. So I can't unlock... Ooh, hey. Never mind. I can't unlock this one yet. But that's what I was waiting for. That's why I didn't have my points into this. Previously, I had them into the cooldown speed. Because what's more important, mana regen and crit hit, or cooldown speed for me personally? That's the real question. Now, I have really good mana regen because I'm a staff wielder. I can just use my ability and get my mana back. So I don't really need the mana regen. And is that 20 magic critical hit chance worth losing out on a good amount of cooldown speed? I don't think it is. So we're going to go ahead and go right back and put all the points that I took out back into there, because that's where I actually want them at. So you have to really balance out your points with the build that you're running. It's going to be very specific to your play style. Okay? So once I have enough gems that I can unlock the mana regen, I'm probably going to put it into that, because the silence resistance isn't really as helpful for me, and I don't want to use this one because that's going to ruin my buffs. Now, it's not a huge decrease to your buff duration. I just don't feel like any decrease to buff duration is a good idea, especially since I'm running a buff debuff damage build. with a wand doing the curses and stuff like that. It's pretty much a buff debuff build. I'm not a glass cannon damage. I'm not a pure damage. I'm a sustain solo type build damage. You cannot kill me in PvE content. It's nearly impossible. So this is just better for my overall build. So I'm going to unlock that one eventually, and then these two will feed into this and unlock this so that I can use it. But I don't have enough points yet, and I also don't have enough gems. And like I said, it gets pretty expensive. You have to do a lot of farming to have enough gems, or you just buy them out of the store with Lucent if you're a swiper. But if you can see up here at the top, I am all out of Lucent, so I can't do that. I've already spent most of the Lucent I've made selling my drops to buy the gear that I need for tier 2. So I don't have enough money being a starving artist that I can't just buy Lucent and swipe for stuff on the game, so I have to get it by actually grinding the game. But that is an option, which I like. But anyway, back to the mastery. You really need to pay attention to what the perks you're getting, because like this perk, for example, I use Mana Ball Eruption. That's really helpful. This perk right here, Frostmaster now increases Staff Lightning skill damage by 10% for 3 seconds when applying Frost. Well, I don't apply Frost. That perk's not really super useful. But this right here and this right here are super useful, and it just happens to unlock that. Now, I'm not actually going to use that. It's not useful to me at all. So when I get points put into this, my mana regen and melee evasion, it'll unlock this right here. Mana amps max health increase, but max mana decreases by 30%. So I'm not going to want that. So I'm only going to put 9 points into this instead of 10, because I do not want this to unlock. I do not want my max mana decreased by 30%. That is not helpful to my build at all. So I'm not going to put 10 points into this one, because I do not want this perk. That perk is not good for me. Now, maybe it's good for you. Maybe you don't need max mana. Maybe that's not helpful for your build. That's perfectly fine. If you want that perk, you can get it. But that's why I'm saying be really careful on what you're using, because some of these perks will actually change the build that you currently have, and it could hurt you in the long run. So you really need to be careful about how you're managing your points. You might not, like I said, you might not want to put all 10 points into some of these, because it might unlock a perk that you don't actually want, or one that might actually harm your build more than help it. So, like I was saying, just be real careful on how you're distributing your points. You, of course, want to put points into things in these rings that are going to help your build out. But like I said, do you want to max that out? Because this requires a certain number of points to unlock. So if I don't want this perk, I don't want to have the number of points that unlock it. So even though this might be more beneficial having it at 10, but if this perk wasn't good, I wouldn't want to put 10 points into here, or maybe I wouldn't want to put 10 points into here. Or perhaps I do put 10 into each, or maybe I put 5 into all of them, you know what I mean? Because this only requires, I think, 20 points. Yeah, right there, 20 points to unlock. So if I put 5 points here, 5 points here, 5 points here, 5 points here, it'll still unlock that slot, I'm pretty sure. I don't think you have to fully max one of these. Like, you don't have to have 2 max to unlock it. You just have to have a certain number of points in your attack area to unlock that. Okay? This one requires the same, but it's based on the ring that you're in. So I need 20 points in this ring to unlock that ring's perk. And I need 20 points in this ring to unlock that ring's perk. But again, not all the perks are super beneficial. So if you don't want the perk, just make sure you don't put the points into that ring that would unlock the perk. Make sense? So, and even some of the, like, for example, if I came down to here, increases mana regen when the user's mana is 30% of max mana or less. Now, that would be really beneficial if you're not running the staff ability that allows you to just regen all your mana back right away. But this is in the staff skills, so if you're not running that on a staff build, you're probably doing the staff build wrong. Just saying. But, you know, if you don't want to rely on that ability, you want to go a little bit more full damage, maybe having more mana regen like this ability here would help. But the only way you can do that is by unlocking these. So you'd have to put points over here, and doing that might change stuff. So like right here, that would be great. Increases your damage, right? This one right here also would be great, except it lowers your Amatoi healing. Do you want to lower your Amatoi healing? Well, if you're a solo player doing a lot of stuff by yourself, no, you do not. But if you're in a group that has a healer, you know, if you're mostly like a co-op or boss type guy, then, or, you know, if you're always running with guildmates, then maybe you don't need that Amatoi healing so much. Maybe it's okay to put that in there and lose a little bit of Amatoi heals. But I wouldn't do that myself because I like to do a lot of stuff solo. I like the challenge. So I wouldn't want to put points into that, so I wouldn't be able to unlock that unless I unlock the other things. Okay? But I have to have one of those perks unlock if I want to use this one, and I have to have a certain number, you know, of everything used. It doesn't have to be in that specific category. I just have to have, you know, the 120 mastery points. But that's my whole point, though, is to unlock these, you have to have the previous perks unlocked. Well, if these previous perks aren't good, you don't want to unlock them. So if all three of them are bad for your build, then you're not going to be able to use this epic mastery ability, even if it's a good one. So this one increases defense by amount equal to 20% of mana regen. Well, that's only good if you have mana regen, and I don't need defense, so this perk is completely useless to me. But these two up here are very beneficial for my build. But as you noticed before when I was talking, which of these perks do I want? Well, this is the only one that's really going to help me the most. This one right here, it would be good, don't get me wrong, but to unlock that I would have to put stuff into here which lowers my stamina regen, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I started putting points right into there, is because I don't have enough to unlock this one, and I need a perk right now, and that's a good perk. So as I build, I will max this out and get this perk, and then I will max this out and get this perk, and I'll end up having two, just like I do over here in attack. But I only need one to unlock this. Alright, but that's generally just kind of an overview of how these perk points work, and how you unlock them, and what the difference is between the different sections. Now, each individual mastery skill, so each weapon, is going to have completely different perk points. It's going to have the same setup. You still have your support, attack, tactical, and defense. But the perks that you have, all of these, are going to be completely different depending on what weapon. And like I said before, I have a tank, healer, and damage build for the different setups, because what I'm running for my mastery in my wand, for example, because my tank is I think they call it a Templar build. I'm a sword and shield with a wand. So I heal myself, so I don't need to rely on a healer. Well, when I'm doing that, I'm using a wand. Well, I use the wand for damage too. So if I'm running the same setup for my damage and for my tank, that's going to hurt one of those two builds. Alright, so that's why this comes in really handy. I can come down here, and as you notice, when I come down, stop that. Work for me. There we go. When I come down to wand, so this is how my wand setup looks like for my tank. Oop, I can put a point in there. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. So you can see that's pretty different, but when I come back up to damage, boom, way different than it was when I come back down to wand. It looks way different, okay? So keep that in mind. And again, you can get to it right here. But I don't like doing that. I like to come up to the skills and come at it through that direction, because when you're looking at stuff, sometimes it'll say, like here, for example, Mana Ball Eruption. Well, say I forget what Mana Ball Eruption is. I can just hit B or back out and come over here and look. Well, right there, Mana Ball Eruption, and I can see what it does. Oh, okay. Do I want that or not? I come back into here, Mastery, and it's just the easy access. Alright, that's why I usually go through the skills to get into my Mastery. Just so I can kind of have, if I forget what something is, and I want to go look it up, I can just easily go, boom, look it up, click back in here. But if you go down into the Weapon Mastery this way, there's no way to get back to the skills. You'd have to completely leave, go back up into skills, and then go back into the mastery. So, like, I just feel like, personally, it's easier just to go through the mastery through the skills menu. That way you have a little kind of a better idea as to what everything does. Because if you're like me and you're not great with memorizing stuff like this, because there's a lot of information in this game and it's really hard to memorize it all, especially right after an update when they changed a bunch of stuff. I mean, this has only been out for a couple of weeks, so I haven't even had time to memorize a lot of this stuff. I'm still kind of tweaking it as I go. So just keep that in mind and be really careful about how you're spending your points, where you're putting them, because you don't want to get some of these that are not as helpful with you don't want to get unhelpful perks. So just know that there is a risk of that, so be careful how you manage it. The only other thing that I think should be gone over is the swap here. So if you say, maybe I leveled up my sword and shield, but I don't want to play sword and shield anymore. Maybe now I want to play spear or daggers. Well, you see my daggers is at level 4, but my sword is at level 12. So I could click on my sword here, and I could transfer that to my daggers. Now that would swap the XP between the two using one of my weapon mastery conversion books. Now those are pretty rare. I wouldn't recommend using them all willy-nilly. Be very sure that you want to move that XP. So if I do that, it'll give my daggers 12 mastery levels, and it'll swap the 4 over to the sword. So my sword and shield will only have 4 levels, and my daggers will have the 12. That's what this swapping is. So say I wanted to swap my staff and my wand. It would literally just swap them. So instead of my staff being 92, it would be 91, and my wand would be 92. That's all that does. But like I said, it costs the weapon mastery conversion books, and those are not super easy to get. I don't even really know how to get them. I got mine through the battle pass, I believe. You might be able to craft them. I don't know for sure. You can probably buy them from the store, I would imagine. But either way, I wouldn't waste them. Be very, very sure that you want to change the mastery XP level, basically, of your weapons before you come in and do the swapping. Alright? Now, there is one other thing, and that's this box right over here. So, this shows your overall mastery level. I had just leveled up the staff earlier today, so I haven't gotten any new points into that. I did that just a little bit before I did this video. But then you also, these are the effects that you're getting from the mastery tree over here on the right. So if you want to see what you're actually getting for the buffs and debuffs, you can come over here. So max damage, I'm getting 10 more max damage, 1.1% buff duration, 16 magic hit chance, mana regen, melee evasion, and I can scroll all the way down. Now if you notice, I do not have any negative buffs, because why would I want to debuff myself? That's silly. That's why, again, be very careful about where you're putting it, because you can get debuffs over here too. I don't want those. Cooldown speed, 3% more. Attack speed, 1.3% more. Max mana, 160. But then there's also down here. And these are your different types of augments. So, burning damage augment increases burning damage by 10%. So these are these perks that I was telling you about, this kind of stuff right here, as well as some of the passive things like this one. That's the augment right there. So this is the stuff that's affecting, that's not a stat boost, but it's a, like, ability change or augment. So right here increases burning damage, power surge, max damage is increased based off my max mana. Mana Shockwave, the Mana Ball Eruption, so that was what we kind of went over just a little bit ago. Then Arctic Thunder, Frostmaster. Well, like I said, I don't apply Frost, so that's not really super useful. But that's where you find these buffs, okay? And then down here is something else that you need to really pay attention to. So once you get 260 points into your mastery, so as you can see right now, I'm at 241, okay? Because that's including both weapons. That's including my wand and my staff. So I have 92 and a 91. Well, what's 90 plus 90? Well, that's 180, right? So then I also have the 2 from that and the 1, so that's 183. And then it also adds all of my other weapons together. So it's not just the 2 you have equipped. It's actually every single weapon mastery you have feeds into the overall skill level of your mastery. And as I get more of my mastery levels, once I get up to 260, so once I get 19 more points, I will unlock a second tier here. Well, the first tier, here's the perks available. You have this one right here and this one right here. You can only choose between those. But once I unlock the 260, I'll unlock 2 more perks that I can slot in the second slot. So make sure that you do get those slotted, because that's always good. All right? Always good. Now this one increases my damage. Obviously on my damage build, that's the one that I want to use. Now if I was running a tank or a healer build, I would want to run the Overcome Crisis, because if my health goes below, my attack speed increases and cooldown speed increases. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that my heals will get off of their cooldowns more quickly, so that if my health gets low, I can heal myself more easily, or, you know, give myself a shield or some sort of buff or something to that nature. It's just for sustain. But I don't want sustain on my damage build. I want this one. That's why I have that selected. All right? So then as you get more mastery points, you unlock the other boxes and the rest of the actual skills in this little mastery skill box here. All right. Well, that is... I will add one other thing, and that's that you can actually share these perks in chat. So right here... Oh, come on. Where'd it go? Stop that. Okay. So if I want to share it... Oh, I don't think that works on the... there we go. Share in chat. So now I could post that to... like so, into the Say chat, as you can see right there, and into the local chat. And I could click on that. Oop, I could, if it lets me. Maybe it won't let me. Let's find out. There we go. Now it's doing it. And you can click on it, and it'll actually show you what the perks are and what your level is in them. Just like sharing your gear. You can do that with your perks too. I don't know why you would want to do that, unless you're helping someone with a build of some kind. Because generally speaking, you don't want your enemies to know the kind of stuff you have, because then they can plan against it or just copy your build and be as good as you are. But that's an overall just tutorial on how the mastery system works. And if you don't like the name for these, you can click on this right here and change the name. Now, I don't want to change it. I already have it set. All right. And down here, you can reset all the materials if you want to, or all the masteries. So that'll basically undo all of the points that you've put in, so that you can start from scratch if you want to like redo your build. Wouldn't recommend doing that, but it's not really going to hurt you. It'll just take time to get all your stuff put back in. But anyway, that is the tutorial on the mastery system. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial.